Today I'm going to show you how to make a narwhal. So I have my paints to my side, I have some water and a paper towel, so when I paint, I can wash and dry my brush easily. Before we even start painting, we need to draw our narwhal. So you're going to need a pencil. So I have a pencil right here. So we're just going to draw some simple shapes to make our narwhal. The first thing we're going to do is towards the bottom of the canvas, I want you to make a dot. And from that dot, we are going to make an upside down teardrop. So I am going to go up, around, and back down. That is going to be the body of our narwhal. So after you do the body, you could do a fin on the bottom. So I just put 2 lines coming out of that dot, and then I just connect those 2 lines. So there I have my little fin. We are not going to draw the horn of the narwhal because you have a little foam piece, but we'll draw some other things. We'll draw some eyes, a mouth, some hands, and a belly. So the first thing we are going to draw is our little hands. So on either side, you are just going to draw almost like a sideways U. So I'm going to have 1 hand, 2 hands. And then over here, I'm just going to make a little teardrop to add our belly. So that's going to be the belly of our narwhal, just to break up some color. So just to add some different colors into the painting. Next, we'll make a mouth. To make the mouth, I'm just going to make a smile, and then I'm going to make a little U. And then just make a little tongue. And our eyes are just going to be 2 upside down U's that are connected on the bottom with a little curved line. So there we have our little narwhal. So we are going to start painting now. So I am going to take my water, my brushes. You should have 2 brushes, a bigger and a smaller. Smaller is for detail, big one is for like doing the background, which we're going to start with. So our first step in the narwhal is we're going to paint our background. So I'm just going to take that blue and I'm going to start painting the background blue. looks good to me. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're actually gonna mix some colors. So I like taking the caps of the paints and using those to mix a color. So the color I wanna mix, I wanna make a light blue because we're gonna make the narwhal's body light blue. So it just needs to be different than our ocean. This painting is very blue. So I'm gonna put some blue on the cap, then wash my brush, and I am gonna take some white and mix it together. And I just wanna make a light blue. It needs to be fairly light, so you need more white than blue. We just want it a different color than our background so we could tell that there is a narwhal. He's not camouflaged. All right, so once I have my blue, I'm just gonna start painting. I'm gonna go outline it almost. This is a good time if you need to change the shape or anything. If you think that it's too much of the similar color, you could always add more white as you're painting. I'm just outlining, changing the shape just a little bit. And then I'm gonna paint his body. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go right over the arms, but I am gonna go around the belly, the mouth, and the eyes. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you get a little in your mouth or a little in your eyes, that's okay. Belly, same. After you do your body, you can move on to your tail. All right, so once I'm finished with my body and my tail, I'm gonna wash my brush. I'm gonna paint his belly white. And the white might mix with some of that light blue that is in my body, but that's okay, because I just want the belly to be a really, really light blue. So I'm just using a little white, and as I outline, I'm just getting a little blue in my brush so it becomes almost like a light blue. And I'm still using my bigger brush. For our next couple of steps, we will be using our smaller brush. So once I have the belly done, I'm gonna wash out my brush. Spread any chunks of paint out that you have. And then we'll start working on some detail. So to do the next step, you're gonna need your smaller brush. So I have my smaller brush here. I am going to do the tongue next. So I'm gonna use a little red, and as I'm using my smaller brush, and as I'm using the red, I'm just gonna add a little white into it, because I'm almost making like a pink tongue. So take your time. If you wanna use one of the caps and mix a little pink, that's okay. So I'm just doing the pink tongue. And then I am going to let that dry, and as I let that dry, I'm gonna wash and dry my brush. While the tongue is drying and the blue is drying, before we start adding some black details, we could add some white details in the background. So I have a tiny bit of white on my small brush, and I'm just gonna add some bubbles in the background. And I'm just gonna make a circle, and then on one side of the circle, I'm gonna make a little line. So I'm just gonna make a couple of bubbles in the background. Couple of bubbles. bubbles in the background. After I do those bubbles, I'm gonna wash and dry my brush. And now we can start adding some black detail. What I am going to do is the first thing I'm gonna do, I have a little bit of black paint on my brush. I am going to outline and then fill in my eyes with all black. If you feel more confident using a Sharpie over paint, you could also use a Sharpie. You just have to wait till all your paint is dry. While I'm here, I'm also going to do my little mouth. And I will also add my little hands. Again, only a little bit of paint on your brush, and you should still be able to see your original hands. If not, you just make those U's, sideways U's. So I'm gonna let this all dry for like a minute or so, and then I'm gonna come back, add one last little paint detail, and then we could add our horn. So I let it dry a bit, and now we can, so it's dry up the top of the head, so you could peel off your foam. There should be a foam triangle. That is, yours is white with silver or a little, some kind of glitter color. So you could peel that off and you're gonna stick it on top of the head. If a little comes off the canvas, that's okay. The last detail that we're gonna add is we're gonna use actually the back of our paintbrush. You could either use the big or the small brush. And I'm just gonna dip the back of my paintbrush in some white paint. And I am gonna add 1, 2 little white dots in each eye of our narwhal. So there we have our very happy narwhal. So you could let this dry for like 10 to 20 minutes and then you could hang it up in your room. So I hope you guys had fun making this little narwhal with me, and have a great summer.